etc. have long been using 700R4s or 4L60s or 4L65s or 4L80E transmissions as a swap, because you can go to the wrecking yard and pick these up for cheap and swap them into your car. So it started there. And gear vendors are not cheap, so it's cheaper to do a swap. You know, the whole idea behind gear vendors was to make the best overdrive, the highest horsepower handling overdrive. That's why we're in the Callaway Corvettes. Didn't come with a 700R4, even though the base Corvette did. They came with a Turbo 400 and a Gear Vendors. The Gear Vendors is all about making the best transmission that could possibly be in your vehicle work and also have overdrive. So back in the 60s and 70s, when GM, Ford, and Dodge were making their products, General Motors was making the Turbo 350, the Turbo 400, the Muncie M20, M21s, M22s, and Super T10s that we found in our muscle cars. These are all great transmissions. Still the best era of transmissions, because the design criteria was simply quarter mile times, performance, engine braking, you know, all reliability. These were the big driving factors. You know, whereas later, after 1981, when corporate average fuel economy came in, now the focus was all about getting every tenth of a mile per gallon we could get. And so you had also a lot of engineering around planned obsolescence, where a transmission should only last through the first 2 owners, and then it should break down, you know, so that the factories can make more money. The early days were nothing like that. The muscle car era is still the best transmission era. So you take a Turbo 400 or a Turbo 350 and throw a Gear Vendors behind it, and you have the ultimate 6-speed close ratio when you want to get on it transmission. And if you put it in auto, just like the Callaway Corvettes that came factory with us, it'll go 1, 2, 3, shift into overdrive all by itself, and it acts just like a 700R4, but without all the finicky throttle cable position issues, which cause the 4-speed factory overdrive swap transmissions to act cantankerously and not be reliable in a performance application. A 700R4 has a really low first gear, 3.06 starting gear, and then it dumps into a quite normal second gear and third gear, and then into a very tall overdrive ratio. Well, this is if you're on an EPA test cycle with a Camaro or something, this is the way to get those extra tenths of a mile per gallon, is to start off with almost a granny low, get the vehicle rolling very easily, then dump it as quick as you can into tall gears that virtually lug the fuel injected vehicle, and you'll get those extra tenths of a mile per gallon. And we're looking for the whole mile per gallon numbers. Sure, we can make, you know, 25 to 30% better fuel economy by adding Gear Vendors. That's great. We don't care if a 700R4 gives us, you know, 31% compared to 30% or that kind of thing. It's like every time the motor just gets into the power, we drop into another tall gear set and knock the engine out of its power band. That's the intent, and that's why we don't like to drive them near as much. Now, everybody loves overdrive, so you talk to somebody who had a Turbo 400 in their car and put a 700R4 or 4L80 or whatever in their car. Oh, they're in love with it, because you spend most of your time cruising. But drivers, guys who enjoy performance, and if part of your nature, part of what you enjoy about the car, or wish you enjoyed about your car, was performance, then the close ratio aspect of being able to have a Gear Vendors and the older style muscle car tranny is what it's all about. That's why we're so popular in that era of vehicle. You'd be surprised how often we get the call of somebody who has put in a swap transmission, and now they have these wide ratios, whether it's a manual or automatic transmission. All the late model trannies are wide ratios. So they've swapped in these wide ratios, and now they wish they didn't. So now they want to go back to their Turbo 350 and a Gear Vendors, or back to their Super T10 and a Gear Vendors, whatever it is. But they already got rid of all those parts. So even if you think you're happy for the first month, you know, while you're enjoying overdrive, you should definitely keep your old parts so that you've got the ability to restore the car, which is another great advantage of the gear vendors. You know, and nothing's worth more than having your original powertrain there, but up to the latest specification of performance and overdrive. So if a car is going across the Barrett-Jackson block, you know, it's no combination is going to be worth any more than, say, a Turbo 400 and a gear vendors. That would be considered the ultimate GM product. And the thing you are going to achieve is that you're going to keep the reliability of the best era of transmissions that was made, add notably the best, the strongest, the most reliable overdrive transmission to that package. So now you've got no loss of performance like you would by switching to a wide ratio late model swap. No loss of reliability like you'd get in a late model swap. No driving features that you don't like that are related to throttle position cables and things like that, where it's bumping into taller gears even though you're on the throttle and you want it to stay in the gear longer, etc. You're gaining all this drivability and performance in close ratios, and keeping the, you know, what is the best transmissions of the era. You're getting to keep not only close ratios as they were designed, but even closer ratios with the gear vendors when you gear split, and still get to have that cruising event where you're saving 25 to 30% fuel economy and much lower RPMs and lower drivetrain speeds and all the things we enjoy about overdrive, including listening to our stereo because now the motor isn't wound out so tight. Visit gearvendors.com with any other questions, or call us at 800-999-9555.